Welcome to this experiential journey of healing and possibility. The principles explored in this podcast guide a contemporary seeker to embody his or her soul's mission. It is a process of living in synergy with the perfect order of all things. A process of allowing the natural soul's rhythm to come into fruition in all areas of our lives. I am your host, Lu Camy, a soul synergy facilitator, a catalyst for change and transformation, a certified hypnotist, and intuitive guide. Please subscribe to the show and leave your review. Follow me on social media, lu.camy or Soul Synergy Experience. I hope you enjoy this show. Hey everyone! Today we are going to talk about being the authentic you. I would like to start this conversation talking about the ways in which we suppress, hide, avoid what is brilliant, what is special, what is unique about us. The ways that we suppress is by telling ourselves over and over again that we are not good enough, that we are unworthy, or that for some reason there is someone out there that is already doing, or there is someone out there that is better, or we are telling ourselves that we don't have the permission to do what we want. When we unconsciously hold on to this limiting beliefs, we prevent ourselves from embodying our soul's purpose. We prevent ourselves from flourishing, from giving birth to what wants to be expressed through us. I've said before here that it is so important to maintain a journaling practice where we ask the question, what wants to come to the world through me, and allow ideas to come. Because most of the time when we are disconnected from our authentic self, we are trying to reproduce something, we're trying to copy, we are trying to fake it, or we are trying to manipulate reality. When we are talking about being synergy with the perfect order of all things, we are talking about co-creation, presence. We are talking about a dance that happens only if we are truly open to let go of the ego identity and return to our true self. Traumatic events can affect what we think is true about ourselves. I was born in a really disruptive family. My father was an alcoholic. My mom was a suicidal. And since I was young, I witnessed this chaos, and I got a lot of limiting ideas about who I am from that period that I had to undo throughout my whole life, doing personal development work, some therapy, meditation, until I came to the realization of who I am. Who I am is divine and perfect. But if I see myself through the lens of the ego, I will see a different reality. I will see a different person. A person that has a lot of reasons to suffer. A person that has all the reasons to feel a victim. We all have stories, right? We all have traumatic events that occurred at some point in our lives, and that created an impact on how we see ourselves and how we see others or life. And when we are talking about being our true self, flourishing, allowing what wants to come from us, when we want to bring forth what is within us, we start to drop the false identity of the ego self. When we are suppressing our innate gifts, our talents, what is special and unique about us, we are making a lot of effort because this is something that is unnatural. The natural way is to just experience this inner state of freedom and peace and joy. And when we are not experiencing peace, joy, this inner comfort, we are making an effort. Because we are holding on to something that is false. We are holding on to some illusion of the ego. And to hold on to some illusion, it takes a lot of energy from the body. It takes a lot of energy from us. And that's why when we are not in perfect alignment with our soul's calling, we start to get sick. we feel unmotivated. Everything is a problem. We focus on what's wrong rather than focusing on what's right with us. We try to please others to be accepted, and we make decisions based on fear rather than making decisions based on our intuitive self. Yeah, I would like to share a story with you that just happened a few days ago. I'm doing a class at Cornell, botanical illustration. It's just a class to build a foundation for botanical illustration. And I've been painting for about couple of years, and, as a hobby, and it became a passion, and it started to be the way in which I express myself, the way in which I, ignite my creative power. And I love watercolor, but I realized that I got stuck and I couldn't develop more. I couldn't, pass beyond some limitations. So I decided to keep learning and find some mentors. And I was conditioned to watch tutorials and copy what the teacher is doing. And now I'm doing a course where I have to basically observe life and translate that into the paper. So I need to go out, collect plant material, and draw what I see. And this is not what I was doing before. What I was doing before was basically copy. So I didn't train my eye to actually see. I started doing this course. I was feeling really overwhelmed, and at the same time I was excited, but there was another side of me that was actually not enjoying, because that was, putting me out of my comfort zone. And when we are, releasing an old behavior, we have this inner battle, because the old behavior is what is known to us. And when we are, stepping to the unknown, we fear. We fear to lose something. Maybe we fear to lose our identity. So I started to do the exercises and the practices without following any tutorial. And that opened up a new world full of possibilities. And then again, the mind keeps bringing limiting beliefs to block growth, to block creative flow, to block divine ideas to come. Because that's what is the ego's job. The ego's job is to not allow us to pass the line. It wants to keep us in this, small, limited container. It is winter time, and here in Ithaca, New York, is really, really cold, and basically all the trees are dry. You don't have that many plant material available. This is what I was telling myself. And I started to tell myself, that's a horrible time to do a botanical illustration, because I cannot actually collect that many plants. Then I went to the botanical garden, and I actually found some plants. And then I realized that what I have available to me right now is enough. And that awareness changed my whole perspective about creative process. It changed my perspective about divine flow, because the ego is that part of us that is constantly saying, I'm not good enough, or there isn't enough. There isn't enough resource. There isn't enough love. There isn't enough attention. There isn't enough money. That's the small self. That's the contracted self. It keeps us in this little small bubble. Nothing can grow from this place. I remember that last year I was doing some channeled letters from higher self, spirit guides, and I was doing these letters to some of my family members, and I offered that to some of them. One of the messages that came to my sister-in-law, which was about to open her photography studio, and there was a lot of fear going on. They didn't tell me, my brother and my sister-in-law, they didn't tell me anything. But then when I wrote the letter, it came the message for her to trust her own way, to do the things that are aligned with her, to trust that the way that she wants to do is the right way. Focus on that, go with that, follow that. And then I sent the letter to her and she was shocked. And she said, well, I think now, I'm going to take the big leap. And that was the message that I needed to hear today, because I went to open my photography studio and I was really, doubting myself. Even as a family member, sometimes you want to give opinion, you want to say what is right, what is wrong. And that's what we are all experiencing most of the time. We are all experiencing this influence of what others think is good, what others think we should do. And by, moving our attention to the external, we lose our capacity to listen to our inner guidance, to our soul's wisdom, to our intuition. And this process to listen more, this process to be more authentic, is a process to detach from the outside, detach from the conventional way of doing things. Because when we really tap into our own way, we might become unconventional. And being different, it's something that we fear because we live in this society where we are thought to behave in a certain way, to think in a certain way so we can fit. We are not thought to honor differences. We are not thought to honor what is unique about ourselves. And again, when I'm talking about honoring differences, if you apply some metaphysical concepts, for example, from the book A Course in Miracles, which I'm a big student, we are all one. That separation is an idea of the ego. But differences can be really helpful, because through differences, we can fulfill different positions in the world. And by fulfilling these different positions, we can create something collectively that is really powerful. But when we are in the wrong position, when we are doing something that we are not passionate about it, when we are in a relationship that is not loving, when we are not being seen or heard by our partners, when we are not truly, expressing our creative spirit on what we do, living an automatized life, we end up feeling frustrated and we end up disconnecting from our purpose. Today, I just uploaded a sample session, a first session on my website. If you go to my page programs, Lu Camy /programs, you can actually do a session that is inside my online coaching program. The session is called Your Soul Expression Code. The Soul Expression Code is a really interesting session for you to get in contact with what is most brilliant, magnificent, and powerful about you. And if you are experiencing one of the symptoms, lack of motivation, self-doubt, fear, lack of clarity, creative block, you should do this session today, because this session will help you it will remind yourself of who you truly are. It will remind you of your superpower. So go to my website and do this free sample session. I was actually talking to a friend of mine last week, and we were talking about how we relate to sickness. We were sharing our experiences because I had a really, really bad time with some bladder problems a few years ago, and I had to go to hospital. I had severe pain. It became a big issue in my life, and I didn't find the right information to heal my body because the conventional doctors couldn't help me with their medications. So I healed my cystitis through herbal medicine, hypnosis, and diet. I had to cut caffeine, I had to change my diet, and I also had to go through the root one, the cause of why I was so sick. Where and when I created that sickness. And I discovered that through a past life session where I made something that created guilt. So that guilt was the pressure, the pain that I had in my body in this lifetime. I was carrying that emotion with me. And once I was able to see the emotion, recognize, forgive, let go, heal, pray, affirm that I was free, I release the pain. And I remember that when I was sick, we always go through the phase where we feel annoyed by that. We feel annoyed by the sickness. Why I have to go through that? Why I have to go to many doctors? Why I need to take care of myself? Why I need to rest? I want to be doing things, and I'm here in bed. I'm here suffering. I don't have energy. We go through this phase where we hate, we blame ourselves. We feel annoyed by the circumstance. We feel annoyed by the reality itself. We started to talk about bringing this appreciation or love or understanding that the body is sending a message to us. The body is saying, hey, go a little deeper. There are still things that you need to let go of. And when we have a chronic health problem, we have an opportunity to heal. We have an opportunity to discover something different. We have an opportunity to discover what is the belief that is causing that sickness. We have an opportunity to change a lifestyle, to change the way we relate to our bodies. And my friend was, kind of complaining about the doctors and the treatments that they recommend and how they treat her. I started to bring this awareness that it's not about them, it's about you. Look at you and ask yourself, how are you treating yourself? Are you putting the responsibility on them, or are you taking responsibility? Are you really trying to heal yourself, or you are just trying to fix a problem? Because to fix a problem is completely different than healing, right? When we try to fix something, we are, rushing towards something that is gonna just, give us some instant gratification or instant relief. But when we are committed to healing, we will do anything to get better. We will do anything that will lead us to be the best version of ourselves. And that's what healing is about. We are releasing the old self. So sickness is an opportunity to release the old self. The idea that I'm weak, the idea that I'm not good enough, the idea that they don't get me, the idea that I'm powerless, the idea that I'm vulnerable. We can only be vulnerable if we are identified with the body. When we just let go of the idea that we are the body, we become powerful. We become powerful beyond measure. Sickness is the idea that we are powerless. This is a quote from the book A Course in Miracles. In this process of healing our bodies, right, we end up learning how to love ourselves, how to respect ourselves in a way that is more profound, more real. And until we learn this message, we will not heal. We will keep holding onto the symptoms. We will keep finding the wrong doctors, the wrong mentors, because we are resisting to learn the lesson. When we are vibrating the love frequency, when we are respecting ourselves, we find the right information, we find the right supplement, we find the right treatment, we discover the cause, we learn the proper diet, we connect with a nice mentor that says something that will change our lives. But the thing is that it's not the mentor that changed your life. You were in a point where you were willing to move on, to change. And then you just met the opportunity, but you created that opportunity. Being authentic is about honoring our spiritual nature, because when we are identified with the word, right, we are identified with an illusion. Everything that is material or physical is an illusion. When we are identified with the word of form and shape, we are creating a lie to ourselves. So when we are sick, for example, we identify ourselves as being a sick person, we are lying to ourselves, because our true nature is divine, is perfect, is healthy. The body is sick. But if we identify with the body, we get vulnerable, powerless, and we start to behave in a way to confirm the idea that we are powerless and vulnerable and sick. And that becomes an endless cycle. So when we want to break free from this cycle, we want to change the pattern, the behavior, the thinking process that is leading us to feel this way. We break the thinking pattern by working with the emotions that led us to think that way. So we unblock these emotions, we clear these emotions so we can be free to live the life that we want to live. And once we unblock these emotions, we do mind training, prayers, affirmations, hypnosis, meditation. There's so many ways in which we can access our inner resources and use our inner resources. The blessing of living in alignment with our truth is that we also bless others. Our life becomes a blessing to others as well. When you give yourself permission to be happy and to flourish, you give other people permission to do the same. You see how big it is. You know that story when you are playing small, you're not helping the world. And I like to think this way. When you are tapping to your smallness, you are tapping to your false identity. Because who you are is infinite potential. I love it that you were here today, and I would like to make an invitation for you. I have a new group coaching starting on March 12th. When you enroll in the program Embody Your Life's Purpose, you will have access to 15 recorded sessions. It is an online course based on the principles of the Soul Synergy experience. You will also have access to the group calls, which will be 12 group calls from March to May. My intention is to hold a sacred space where we can learn together, where we can drop the false identity of the ego and flourish and be our most authentic and brilliant self, and create this momentum where we feel inspired to take action, we feel inspired by our visions, and we become able to listen to our soul's calling and embody it. So if you want to have this transformational experience with me, I invite you to enroll today to the online program. Go to lucamy.com/program/ use the code PURPOSE23 to get 10% discount. Use the code PURPOSE23 to get a 10% discount. If you like the show, please leave your review. I appreciate so much. Share with your friends, and blessings.